Shrines gained as much popularity as it did. And you can see now straight away the adaptation as to this map. Greymane currently being hovered as a ban when their second pick, because Greymane usually is that go-to first pick. He alone, in that Worgen form, can literally solo and really win the objective for you.
Can you kind of elaborate just for the players as to why that is possible?
So the Worgen damage when you're in that melee form, it's just so ridiculous. The amount of damage you can pump out in a zone, combined with the attack speed steroid and the claw as an auto attack reset, it's ridiculous. So you can have the other 4 players delaying and trying to disrupt the other team, doing the immortal, and he can just solo it on his own, almost like Reailty and other very high auto attack damaged heroes. It's quite a scary one, but Reailty, if they do go for this Greymane ban, they do trade out a few other picks, be it the Falstead, as we've mentioned, or in some cases the Wizards like Kel'Thas or Li Ming.
Li Ming is quite strong, you can go the Magic Missile build and really pump the damage on to that objective. But we do see negative synergy. Once more, they are going to hover the good old Falstead. And, there's no real steering away from Falstead at the moment, I think. Just so strong. He's always been strong. Global pressure, like we talk about all the time, very, very good as well. And Gus, obviously, can use them very well when you're fighting around in the battlefield. Because when the stuns come down, you can push the team into stuns. You can disengage if you're not keen on the fight. And if you want to defend the battlefield person, then you can with the Gust as well. So a lot of mechanics there that you can use and utilize there.
So these first initial picks, as it seems to be, is an exchange of the OPs, or the tier 1s as people would call them. Falstead taken away for free. Tyrell and Li Ming now being selected, as it seems to be. As we mentioned, Li Ming, a great pick. Depends if they're going to go for the teleport build or the Magic Missile build, but regardless, a strong setup for them to start with.
Yeah, definitely. So, the hovering the Li Ming now, they've locked in the Li Ming, such a strong mage. We talked about that before. And now it's negative synergy's turn to take the next 2 picks. And, can go a lot of ways with this.
I wouldn't be surprised, Starving, if they either go for the Lunara or the Sylvanas. So we've seen Sylvanas have a lot of value on this map as well, mainly for the reason, like Infernal Shrines, if you win the objective, you push and you find yourself getting far more value than you normally would. But also just the fact that we have Lahal here. He's very well renowned for playing that Lunara, and especially the buff that you can do to the Immortal in the middle. Here's another key reason to choose either that or the Sylvanas.
I do like the ETC pick as well. You get the attack speed increase as well on all of the characters around you, and it can be actually quite helpful when dealing with this objective, just allowing you to punch through it that bit easier. But wow, look at that Sylvanas, that is massive. So what that's going to enable is just such a stronger presence of that siege. So you come in with your objective, with your boss, and you're going to be able to breeze through that. Usually the first boss doesn't see too much worth. Really doesn't.
Well, usually speaking, you're looking at a tower, perhaps 2, and this usually guarantees that you're going to get a fort as well. So, massive. Not to mention you win those races with the amplified damage and that withering fire. Reailty, though, decide, okay, you've picked up one of those really strong picks. We're not going to let you have a Kerrigan to complement the aggressive nature of what you're trying to achieve here. And in negative synergy, you have to decide, well, how else do we disrupt what Reailty are bringing to the table? It's either a case of banning out the Uther for the sort of Divine Shield combination of buffing up a Bruiser, or I feel that they have other options, be it to take out these crucial assassins. Yeah,
definitely. But the hovering Arthur's there, so they're quite concerned, I guess, about a really heavy front line breaking into negative synergy. Maybe they just don't want to allow them to have a really strong double tank maybe that we did see for quite a long period of time.
Yeah.
Could also kind of show that they're maybe trying to pick up something a bit squishier to go in the backline yet again. Because Arthas is quite effective at just disrupting that. Gets in there, Howling Blast, and just combos can really...
And we've seen the Arthas in some cases being taken as a response to Sylvanas. So we saw it picked earlier, but not for the fact of Syndragosa, but it has in times been taken as a Syndragosa, almost like a poor man's version of what Sylvanas can bring to the table.
Quite effective though, I must say there. So really thinking about this one, they've gone through Mirrodin, they've gone to Brightwing and Arthas, but they say no global pressure, that's a threat we don't want to be dealing with, and they get rid of that. And the reality of that is that a lot of people are keen on this global pressure at the moment. So they're saying we've got our global pressure, we're not going to let you have false stat obviously because we have it, and it might kind of force Reailty into a bit of a weird situation. But Zeratul, for I think the 3rd time today, might actually been seen play.
Yeah, Zeratul is quite a nuisance today. I mean, we've seen, generally speaking, that melee role being satisfied by a Sonya or even, the Thrall. Sonya is actually a very strong pick on this map as well, and I'm surprised I haven't seen it being picked up so early or even contested, but they're currently hovering that Zeratul. Baiting if it's the right option to go for. Rhaegar also a solid option, especially if you go for the Lightning Shield. You can pair that with somebody else. Also provides a lot more DPS to these Immortal Rush races. And they're going to go back to that trusty Zeratul. They're still quite convinced it's the way to go to round things out. They snipe somebody off that leaving targets and find the resets in that manner.
I mean, a couple of interesting things you can do with this, if you did decide to go with the Zeratul, is you can actually VP, get your whole team ready, jump on towards the VP, and drop the Sank after VP has dropped. And a matter of fact, if they want to disengage, that's fine, because they can't exactly do damage to you, but it leaves you in a real sticky situation, because they're all clumped in this nice VP. Really depends how that Zeratul looks to be played. But yeah, they've locked it in. They're keen as a Marine. And Negative Synergy looking to respond with their last 2 picks, about 25 seconds overall left. So a bit of time to think about this. But probably looking to round out their comp with some sort of support here. I don't think we'll see this like the pseudo support, just not enough damage looking on the side of Negative Synergy here.
They potentially could go Tassadar Tyrant, but I feel like it'd be very squishy in the sense that they're already up against a fair bit of damage. They need some beefiness. They need to survive. Ufa, a great choice for that. Divine Shield, the Mosh Pit, we've seen it time and time again, but also a fronty member to really lead the charge and soak up a fair bit of damage. Yeah. I feel like they need another big bruiser, be it the Sonya, be it even Zul potentially, just somebody that can really slow down the engages of what Reality they're trying to do and just not die in an instant.
Oh wow! So they're going to 180 on that. The hovering Tychus. I'm not too sure how this fits. Like that's a pretty outside of a pick there. That leaves a really large backline as well for Negative Synergy.
Yeah.
So it's really going to be up to Reality here to how they're going to round out this team comp. I actually think like another tank would be quite nice. It really just break through that wall. Tychus obviously known for his high damage to tanks, but when you're running at someone, they either have to run away or kill you quicker than you can kill them, right? So I mean, if you're strong enough in your push. A Tychus isn't really going to be too strong if he's being wailed on. So let's see how they're thinking about this one. It's been 20 seconds left in this time pool.
Wouldn't be too convinced with a solid DPS. A solid tank Tyrael at this stage. The hovering of Lunara, and I mentioned it earlier in the draft, Sylvanas and Lunara so strong in this map in particular, just for that talent at 7. But there seeming to be that they're quite happy with just a Tyrael on its own, just a lot of damage.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't even matter if they have a front line or not. They just want to jump in. They want to make things happen. And I would expect even in Death to be picked up by the Tyrael. And literally they're just trying to commit every resource they have possible. Zeratul dives in. They try and do some damage. Tyrael dives in. If he dies, the explosion happens. Everything to try and cater to Li Ming getting resets and winning based on numbers.
And looking at this real quick, I think it's pretty safe to say we probably will see the not the judgment. I
feel Sanctification is far too good to pass up because it has the ability to outplay both Moshpit as well as Gus if timed well.
And of course, Tychus being such a strong damage dealer, notably to tanks, I actually think Sanctification works out really well. You get 25% damage increase as well at level 20, which can be so good. And I think in this map as well, the blocking field is actually quite effective. There's a lot of situations where it can come in handy, including getting players stuck in the zone of the boss and getting stunned. And those stunts hurt, don't they, Skimmy? So you really get locked down in there very quickly and find yourself dying. But we'll pass it back to Disco and see what they say about this whole draft situation.
Hey, looking at a Negative Synergy versus a Reality. And right now, I'm tending towards the Negative Synergy side. I don't know how effective Trial's going to be. That's his Sanctification, great players by that. The right Sanctification at the right time, or anything of that persuasion is just enough to really hurt Negative Synergy. Any follow up damage, and their damage really is only coming sort of from Falstad and Tychus. So maybe they can punish one of them for being out of position. But I don't know who wins in the Immortal race. Would be Reality.
I think Negative Synergy,
to be honest, I think Synergy as well.
Yeah, so that's another sort of thing towards them. Mind you, that's a lot of damage Reality has, leaving Lunara and Zeratul. So
it's a hard one, eh?
I think it's going to be a close one. It depends to a certain degree how they spec as well, but.
I feel like Negative Synergy do have this safer comp to a degree, to be honest. I do like the Tychus up to looking at, and I just do feel like Reality, it's not as safe, that they have to play a whole lot better, speaking with the Sanctification, of course it's a really great ult and gets a lot of worth out, but like you said, this concur, it's all about the timing, situations, And it's how your team react as well. So just going to have to wait and see how they pull this one off.
I think, as you guys covered, if Negative Synergy gets an Immortal, they're going to push so hard with it. Even if they get the first one, they can easily take a fort because of Sylvanas. But then Reailty has so much to actually shred the Immortal with. Like, Lunara on the Immortal is just insane because she's got that damage ticking on as well, which makes her so much better. But then again, we've got Tiger, so it's really even, and that's what it's a really well done draft, I think, on both sides.
I understand Negative Synergies.
Material.
Yeah, I was about to say, Negative Synergies composition. I see how it's going to work. I see its advantages. It's clear to me. Reailty, I don't 100% see. I see what they're trying to do, but I don't see it going off well. Like I see them getting picks. Yep, they can get picks off, no worries. But this Battlefield of Eternity, it creates a lot of team fight situations. And that's where I'm really concerned, is that they're not going to be able to break through the ETC, or they'll be punished when they do get to the other side of them, and there's Tychus and Falstad.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see, guys, as we're going to jump into the loading screen now. The lower bracket finals, a best of 3 between Negative Synergy and Reailty, and we're starting things off here on the Battlefield of Eternity. Starving, why don't you kick us off for us?
Yeah, on the left-hand side, we do indeed see Negative Synergy once more. Lahal playing Sylvanas, Session on Falstad, Demise playing Tychus, Penta on ETC, and Luminum on Uther.
And that's right, on the right-hand side, it is Reailty. Icebowl playing Teriel. Hack is on Zeratul there. Vanilla playing Lunara. We also have John on Li Ming. And to round things out, Katori is playing the Rhaegar.
Good old Rhaegar. So, yep, we're going to be starting things off here, and we'll look out for any interesting picks off at the start here. And as Skimmy said, he is going to go the Teriel, going to pick up their talent, so allows him to be using the scales after death. Usually just trying to get the worth out of the death. You know, you use your Elune Sword or whatnot to jump on top of the enemy characters after death, just to really utilize that damage. Yeah. So it's actually quite cool. I've seen quite a lot more play of that these days, even in like Quick Match and Hero League and that sort of thing. So pretty interesting stuff.
That's the way, and it seems to be that both teams are grouped up as a 5-man stack, hunting for blood and looking to see what they mentioned during the draft. They have different strategies in mind. One looking to really just try and clump up and make it happen, and the other really just trying to sort of almost all in and get a kill for the reset on Li Ming. But there we go. It's the Sylvanas doing what Sylvanas does, getting a free tower in the top lane there. Reailty didn't call the right lane, and that's a tower in favour.
Yeah, definitely, and it's something you can expect pretty often. It's going to be about, look at Penta, he's taking a lot of damage. Here comes the Zeratul Hack, certainly doing what he needed to be done there and managing to get his team a kill. But wow, 1 for 1, 2 for 1, and they come back with a response so quickly. And look at that, we actually see Teriel popping over the fence there and wow! Jeez, it just shows the power of Li Ming. Just so much damage there. Managing to get it. Did not see that one coming, Skimmy.
And that's your textbook example, exactly what we're trying to explain during the draft there. You know, he can jump in, he can make things happen. What looked like a very healthy Falstad, met its demise, really.
Yeah, definitely. So very nice plays by them. I didn't actually think they'd be able to get a pick out, but they just turned that around so quickly. So showing Reailty that, the reality is, if you're going to get a pick, we're going to get 2 because we're Negative Synergy. So, Hack playing it pretty aggressively here, taking a lot of damage. And all the while at the top, we do just see the typical 1v1 Skimmy. John versus Session, the old the Arcane Mage, Li Ming versus Falstad.
That's an interesting solo lane, because I say John's had a bit of a hard time up against Session here, and I would have thought that Zeratul would have been the solo laner there just to sort of passively sit around. He does actually come up for the gank, doesn't actually connect with the Living Bomb, or actually say the bomb itself, to slow the member down, but it's going to be in time for the first Immortal phase to spawn. A bit of a fight does break out. Lunara gets taken out. It's a great time for Negative Synergy to find a pick, as it gives them a big head start.
Yeah, amazing start, as a matter of fact. So the Immortals are now spawning, and it looks like the blue team Negative Synergy already kind of, postured around it and dealing the damage need to be done. It's pretty even at the moment, though. And Hack, wow, getting dropped so low, so needs to play that a bit careful here, as him and John are just trying to deal as much damage, harass them, while Reailty are trying to do their thing.
That's the way, and it seems that the halfway mark has been reached. As we mentioned, it's in favour of Negative Synergy after they found that pick on a crucial target. They took out Lunara, and you can see now that Reailty are deciding to posture aggressively. They're going to go for the defence as opposed to even putting anybody on aggressive duties. They're going to try and pick off a target. Oh, look at that! Wow. So much damage comes across just in an instance like that. Icebolt super low, but same for Penta as well. Jeez. Both tanks forced to sort of back out here and wait for their supports to tank. Will actually bring them back up to level peggings, but it's the damage has been done. Starving 6,000 health down to 12.
Yeah, definitely. So they're just trying to put their Lanara back on the boss now and just try and get her to the Witherer down. But here comes Session and Lahal. They're already ready to come back into this fight. It actually looks like Katori's going to go down. Yes, indeed, that is the support out of that fight. Skimmy going to leave them in such a tricky situation. And they're probably going to get this first immortal for the fight.
Yeah, first one's going to be nice and tanky. 5,500 health and enough for Sylvanas to be happy. Enough for them to try and find an advantage, and as we mentioned during the draft, perhaps get a fort instead of just a couple of towers. John forced to back away there. Thankfully, he didn't miss the teleport. We've seen a few times that happens where you choke, and it's a heart-wrenching moment.
Yeah, you just want to cry yourself to sleep after that happens. Happens to me all the time because, like I've said, I'm not good at this game. But you know what? The Immortal is going to push now on the bottom lane for negative synergy. And with Sylvanas, Skimmy, what is your prediction here? Going to be a lot of damage, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just 2 towers done for free before even the Immortal Shield's being touched. So, scary stuff so early on, and it's just allowing you to hit those targets quicker. 6-4. And if they hit 7 off this as well, then look for them to try and force a fight even towards that keep gate.
I mean, this has been the story for the past couple of games we've seen, hasn't it? It's going to be like, they get the advantage so early, and with the Sylvanas, it's going to be a whole lot easier for them. And it really just leads into this big snowball of a game here, and you can see negative synergy just really want this fort, and for good reason. Look at that.
Absolutely, and now we can see Session coming in here. Big Arcanor comes across onto the members of negative synergy to try and deter them a little bit further. The Immortal itself is down to half now. Shield has been broken, and that's enough damage. They don't need to sit around any longer, and I like the respect there of not overcommitting despite their level advantage.
Yeah, no, I really like that indeed as well, Skimmy, but looking to pick up this easy camp towards the bottom of the map here. It actually looks like Reailty are pretty onto this, and they're pretty keen to respond. Tychus does see that Wisp coming in. He's like, we need to get out right now. Here comes Hack. Do they have any follow-up here? Arcane Orb coming out onto Aluminum, Skimmy. They might actually be able to get a cheeky pick.
Yeah, not going to be too phased about that one whatsoever. I say they have Session the whole time pushing top lane, so the command was to get the camp and then get out of there. And really retain their level lead. It's 7-6 now. They got the talent advantage. If they do want to go for a fight, it is available. But it seems to be that Reailty in a bit of a split situation now. Do they go to the top lane to respond, or do they go for the mercenary camp? They can see Session hanging around waiting to try and go for it. But it seems to be the rest of negative synergy as a 4-man squad are just going to go and take that Shaman camp.
We usually do see that in this sort of map as well, don't we, Skimmy? We see one member kind of rotating around, and whereas the other 4 members go to one lane respectively and generally stick together as best they can.
Well, it's panders to their playstyle to a degree, because I say they've already got the Khazra pushing bot, which nobody's actually touched. They're just sticking as a 5-man unit, and like the draft has said, it's all looking just to try and collapse as a unit, try and find those kills and do anything possible to make it happen.
Yeah, but the thing is, Skimmy, I think negative synergy are actually playing this quite well, because we saw them pick up that Khazra camp at the bottom. They rotated up to the hard camp, and Session being so patient, actually managing to get another Khazra camp with his team there, negative synergy. So fantastic stuff coming from them, but Reailty, they're going to have to look to make a play here, and ETC might actually scope them out as they rotate up.
Now is the time to find kills. I say 10 seconds until these next immortals spawn, so if you can find some picks, you will win that initial first phase of the race. And Kantori's trying to force the aggression here. Hack jumped in too, forced to teleport away. Big damage from John on the backline there, hitting Pento, who's going to be forced to tap that well quite early on and keep himself topped up to keep the aggression in their favour. But it seems to be that both teams are now going to start posturing towards the aggressive nature, bring down those immortals. You can see negative synergy starting to return the favours with their level lead.
Yeah, definitely. They're coming back into this one. But wow, look at Hack just coming in so strong there, but just a bit too fast and a bit too cocky there, as he did have no backup there, Skimmy. But, 1-for-1 at the moment here. Falstad, no global pressure, but no invis. So none of that, scary stuff happening at the moment. Of course, as well, level 10 being so close, Skimmy, it's not something you want to happen for either team.
No 1-for-1 trade at this stage here, and still so far away from level 10. So both teams just trying to posture around wherever they can, get some poke damage off and try and collapse on towards a kill. But they do have the advantage now because Falstad can fly in. And that's going to mean they have a bit of an opportunity to get a kill before anything happens. John down to 14 HP. He does get the heal on top of him just in time. And that's enough to bait so many negative synergy members in deep. But Iceball does find himself in a situation. Is he going to try and collapse for a kill? He's going to go straight for Demise. It's once again a 1-for-1 trade. Tychus for Tyrael. Now we're going to go back to just the old little poke game.
Oh, wow. Look how aggressive John's being as well. I just love the movement there, how he got out of that fight. Almost died multiple times in that we exchanged. But, very skilled player indeed, does manage to use those mechanics to his advantage and blink over those walls to keep himself alive. But it's looking pretty good at the moment for the side of Reailty. They've dealt a bit of damage.
Interesting enough, their starving is a variation for Uther at 7. He's not gone for cleanse. He's actually gone for Burden of Guilt, meaning the movement speed of a member or a target is actually slowed by 30%.
Jump on that Lee Main or something like
after
that,
they get stunned out. So literally, like you said, just trying to stun somebody out, slow them down, find those picks, and they're not really too phased about any like spikes or slows.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to keep this game as well, Skimmy. They want to maximize their kill potential on targets. They don't have really heaps of hard CC. As you can look at the characters, but wow, another fight yet to break out against Skimmy.
Yeah, that's the one, and you can see Session jumping straight towards John, tries to find the kill in the 1v1 of the ranged assassins there. Doesn't quite get it, but it does actually result in Tyrael dropping too. Beautiful divine shield. Just in time as Edwin's Might did come across to try and pop that passive on towards him. Session dropped the 200. He does have the flight available if he needs to come back into things, but they do have 10 now, and that's exactly what allowed them to win that trade.
What an interesting use of divine shield there, right? Didn't actually saw it coming, but I think Luminum was just like, no, please, I'll help you. Manages to get that save in the nick of time, but negative synergy, just playing so positively here, and they are going to be able to get this advantage back and just fail away on their Immortal.
Oh no, John caught in the wrong situation, and they're so desperately hunting for level 10. You can see Lunara there in the top-hand side trying to soak for a little bit and allow them to really utilize this first phase rotation. As you can see, the Immortals now clashing in the mid, but it has resulted in Leeming losing her life, and with this in mind, it's going to seem to be that Negative Synergy are going to have another commanding situation for this Immortal.
Yeah, definitely. And with all these stuns coming out, you've got to be so careful if you're on the side of Negative Synergy. They're dropping it so quickly, though. Penta, nice turret being dropped as well to kind of sign them out. Deal a bit of damage to Vanilla and force her to back off as well, because you just don't want to be under that turret. It's going to start increasing the damage it does to you and be very, very annoying.
And with this Immortal here being a lot tankier than the last one, especially with the scaling too, bear in mind that fort is already dropped quite low, so this one here is most likely going to be working towards that keep. But there, as you said, yeah, the VP does come across. They're looking to try and make something off it. A big gust comes across too. Is there any follow-up to this one here? No, a big silence on top of everything. A mosh pit catches too. Make that free, actually. Or John gets out. He does, but Zeratul drops in the meantime. And it seems to be Vanilla trying to take on Session 1v1, but he's got the heals, he's got the support. And now Session barrel rolls very aggressively, hunting for that wizard, who is also trying to get the 1v1 retaliation.
Yeah, definitely. So what we saw happening there is just the perfect execution of combos there. Iceball trying to go in as the tank at the front line, but got dropped so low, so very quickly. And the timing of all those spells, and actually seeing Iceball waterfall as they push at the top, but the timing of those spells, Skimmy, you saw the Immortal come to the top as AoE started going off under the VP. As soon as it dropped, it followed by a huge gust. So it's just the understanding of all of these little mechanics.
I wouldn't be surprised if they get a keep here as well, Starving. I mean, that Immortal is still quite tanky, 3/4 health to be precise. And it's getting dropped very, very low. 13 soon to be acquired, and it's only 13 to 11, so I mean, it's a talent to advantage. 13 kills to 4 as well. So, right now, Negative Synergy really starting this game one with a bang.
Yeah, definitely. They're keen to get the one advantage here. It makes the second game a whole lot easier, I think, as well. You're not on that tilt and we need to win. But, that's for another time, because they might actually bounce it back here. But reality is that Reailty are a bit behind here, almost 2 levels in full. And all it takes now is for Negative Synergy to push another lane, notably the bottom one, and really just keep snowballing that lead that they picked themselves up with.
And that's what they're trying to do right now. They're picking up their own Shaman camping, contesting the bottom Khazra 2, and it seems to be the response from Reailty is the exact same. Let's just mirror the mercenary matchups and grab those two. And, that lane is going to have permanent cannons pushing towards it, so they can always have to send somebody back, and you see they just have no real way to try and respond to this. And right now they're getting out-rotated because you can see Negative Synergy are working towards just another keep.
Yeah, definitely. And this is just the situation they didn't want to find themselves in, but here they are again. Levels 13 to 12 and a level disadvantage of almost 2 levels, Skimmy. And it looks like they might actually go for the fight Assassin. Takes a big clump of damage to start things off.
There goes the big Draken laser, but it gets instantly popped away. But look at the mosh pit! But straight away interrupted. The blind shield came out just a fraction too late, and it did allow the wave of force to come across. But a big Arcane Orb hits 4 members of Negative Synergy. They're so low. This is time for Hack to shine. He's trying to make things happen, but they're so low. Iceball drops across. But he finds Session. Session drops down to 10 HP. But he doesn't actually get it. Session gets across on 20 HP before the Eldrins might actually connect with anything. And now Hack's trying to make something happen. He does get the Singularity Spikes. A great trade there. And it's going to be a 1 for 2 actually in favour of Reailty there, Starving.
Yeah, didn't actually see that one coming out in their favour there, but just with that bit of a clump up there by Negative Synergy really showed that if you do clump up, that damage is going to spread to you really quickly, with John doing that amazing damage.
And that would have been a very different story if that Divine Shield came out just a fraction earlier.
Just a fraction. So yeah, if just that Divine Shield being just a fraction of a second late really did spell doom for him, but it looks like Negative Synergy are just they're still feeling pretty comfortable. Reailty here are going to drop their Immortal very, very fast. Sub 50% now. And it's really down to Negative Synergy to kind of find a play here or maybe get a pick and get the Immortal back.
Yeah, they've still got a full level lead, and it's a case of them being on even footing right now. scale of change. That's got to feel bad if you're Negative Synergy to lose a fight like that, but it's only one combination that did it for them. And look at that, they go straight on towards Ufa, taken out. There's no Divine Shield available this time. Sanctification is good and protects the members in the front line trying to find that kill. And that's exactly what John wants. He wants those resets where he can find them. They're now looking to try and find more. Demise dropped extremely low. Wow. There goes the Arcane Orb. Drops him down to 400. And Hack is thirsty for blood, but he does get denied because Penta is there to protect him.
Yeah, I really like the body blocking there by the ETC, actually moving in the way of Demise. So if any more projectiles were to come out, they would have hit the ETC rather than that very, very low Sylvanas there. So very good game knowledge and very good execution there. But Sashin and the rest of the team now for Negative Synergy, they're looking to just kind of keep rotating with the enemy team and not allow them to snowball the advantage of this here, because they have been in the lead most of the game, but now finding themselves in quite a tricky situation.
It's going to feel good if you're Reailty right now. A very strong Immortal, the first one for them off this game, and they're looking to try and push on in and even out this level deficit. They're only about half a level behind, but even with this, they just don't have the best sieging comp. You can see that they've got this, this Immortal in their favour, but they're playing so passively. They're relying on the fact that Penta actually got knocked away. That he's going to get dropped a fair bit, but it's not going to be enough for him to get any kills.
Yeah, definitely. So it's going to make it very difficult for them to do anything here, but here comes Hack. All ultimates except for Linares are up at the moment, so they're going to have to back off this Immortal just for a short moment. Wow, yeah, that VP just a little bit mistimed actually as the Arcane Orb was going out, and those were a bit mistimed as well. Just losing a bit of damage on that Li Ming for the side of Reailty, and the Immortal is now going to drop as well. So 2 ultimates burnt, and we might see Penta and his team come back with a fight, Skimmy. Wow!
There goes Sashin, aggressive, beautiful places. Divine Shield comes out onto the mosh pit as well, but the gust was good. Blew him into the mosh pit. So much trust and so much coordination. Style points right there. Negative Synergy is saying, you tried to actually kill us there. You burnt so many cooldowns, and now we're going to show you what we can do.
I wish we could get that on instant replay, but luckily for the people in the old Twitch, they're going to see that after we saw it in terms of delay there. But wow, what a massive play. We just saw so much control there coming out, and it's getting the pick when need be. Hack has been spotted at the top now.
And check this, starving here. They might actually be trying to go for the core here. I mean, the people are down for, say, 10 seconds. Be very aggressive if they do, but they're looking like actually going to go commit for this one. Penta's already beginning to charge onto it, but they're backing out, so a bit of a unutilized sort of time there.
I do kind of like that, though, with Linara coming up, Skimmy. I think that's a bit risky.
I would agree as well. So it's a bit interesting their shot. I think they got a little bit too excited from that big combination and thought, we can actually end the game.
Yeah. They just didn't have the time that they needed. So, but I like that. They managed to pick up the old hard camp there, so that's going to make it a bit easier for them. Of course, it's going to just allow that... No.
All right, so it looks like we've just had an issue with our comms server. Just picking up the game here, so we'll rotate. All right, I'll stop now.
Happen, and ETC does get dropped out there. They pick up the camp and they pick up a kill. Great timing there for Reailty. So good for 16 to 17. And, they're starting to find their picks. This is what their comp's trying to achieve, and that's what they've done. So, Starving, if you're feeling like you're Reailty right now, you've got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, very, very good. So, I've come back into this game, and now they have a chance to really pump it onto Negative Synergy. They obviously don't want any of that. Demise starting to ramp up his damage now. Immortal's already, we do see a PP, so 3-2-3. Give it a quick pause and wait for old Penta to get back in the game.
Yeah, so Penta had dropped there, but I think he's already back in. It must have been a quick DC for him as we resume coverage right now. And it seems to be that right now the Immortal dropped quite quickly indeed. It's going to be pushed into the second phase. Reailty are now looking to try and scout out some kills. They're going to quickly showing value.
Yeah, I like that play actually. They're just not keen on dealing with that split pressure. Both teams, if you leave it there for the shortest one, you're going to have a bad. It's just going to keep getting that worth off. It's going to be a fight going to be breaking up very, very shortly as we can see back string very aggressively.
Yeah, there goes the VP preventing out 2 big targets. It's the ETC as well. 9,000, 3,000, actually 4,000. Sorry, a lot of damage available still on these Immortals. Why it's so segregated right now to split across. Ice Bolt was tanking on Penta. The rest of the team is still speaking back. Playing base defense right now to get Synergy.
I mean, it's not really a situation you want to be in, but look at this. Ice Bolt might actually get taken out very well picked by Penta with the ball. but that's full of damage once again. Divine Shield coming out of Demise, getting taken out as well. Ancestral Healing not quite going off in time. Welling Arrow out onto the Li Ming. John getting silence and ending his life there. So very nicely timed. The Wailing Arrow by Lahal, but look at this in the back line. Vanilla just being such a nuisance.
And that's so frustrating if you are Reailty, because look at that there. Immortal hadn't even been scraped, and the enemy won negative synergy straight down to 4,000 health. And Vanilla is the only remaining member here, unless you count Katori, who's trying to do the runaround. Trying to pounce it in damage wherever they can. The Wisp does go back to try and scout out some damage, but they drop, and it's not worth it whatsoever. He does drop. Katori drops too. No. Wrong place, wrong time. They did burn another 2,000 health, but it was all in vain.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can see what they're trying to do. It's going to be just sink it as fast as they could. They came all back to this. It's also skin, piece of skin. But now they do pick up the little shielding 2,000 slice there, and that is it's going to be very, very scary if you're on Team Reailty.
That's the way indeed. 19 to 18 now, a 4-level lead still is the story for Negative Synergy, as it has been all game. And they're now looking to try to get level 20 and make things happen for them. But look, they're pushing on in. Simple isn't that tanky, 2,000 shield, but it's still going to be enough to do damage. It's 19 minutes to this game starting, and they're looking to try and push the keep and ultimately the core.
Yeah, I think this could really spell doom for Reailty here. On the side of things. Oh, look at that big VP there. Just missing it. It's quite break out
at the way, and it seems to be it's too slow, too late as the separation comes as well. And Silence now into the slide of the guard. Again, here's another kill. They're looking for Ice, he gets taken out. He's going to try and drop the backline. Look, try and take out Demise if he can. Does Demise have anything? He doesn't. He gets dropped. Then Immortal is extremely low. It's not going to do much here, but it does still allow Negative Synergy to look for more kills.
Certainly getting it taken out here. No, it's just at the time. Very nice indeed. Like a nice gust as well to disengage Vanilla away from just taking a bit of damage there. He's still keen on the kill. I can't quite get it.
That's the way, and as they look
interesting.
And at the front, have 20 in a level lead with it. And, 19 is such a far way to be catching up. I mean, they can push in with these mercenaries. They've got double keeps down. They've got a core which is ready to be pounced upon. And, these fights seem to be going quite favorably for Negative Synergy every single time.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, what you're really hoping on is just one of those perfect fights. But one thing I have been noticing is the Li Ming's been trying to synergize with the pack. And it's trying to drop the VP as the Li Ming combo comes over. But it's not getting there. And it's a lot of damage that you are missing out on. So, just something to tighten up those combos there could really spell something good for Reailty. Just gonna have to wait and see if they can pull it off in this next fight because it's surely coming soon.
And you can see Negative Synergy looking for a play as Reailty are playing very passively right now. There's spotted hack walking in trade. So it's going to go full commit to it as the play comes across, but Penta is ready to pounce on. Team.
Exactly. I mean, they're not that scared of that. I quite like the play. I the other as they can force it to flow, but they're going to pick up their own height. It's just going to go towards the bot lane, Skimmy.
It's the one and say next model is up and it's ready to start now. 44,000. That is getting shredded right now by Reailty. They found the target. Ice roll every single time. No sanctification for you. And Venture, she bolted the storms out of that one, so no evidence might be handy from that one. Oh, Sashi gets a big gust on towards the back line. But it's all going to be in vain. No, it's not, because he gets the mighty gust. Actually, he gets the flight out too. And that's the one. Try and take a hack of the laser too.
Oh my god.
And is that going to be enough for the kill? It isn't, but thankfully so. That's going to be a very scary play.
Yeah, and they're going with the old combo over the wall there with Hack and Li Ming. But yeah, we just saw Tyrael blow up, and when you're not even utilizing the sanctification, it smells like so it's going to be that one. Back, still being nothing on that damage, Skimmy.
Yeah, they got to do as ever they can at this stage right now, and I mean they're just going to go into the second phase, hoping that they can try and reduce the shield down as much as possible so that they don't get crushed. This symbol gets picked up and he's making back games and stuff right there. And Zeratul drops amongst the stalls, so that's the ceiling that they have the game.
Yeah, definitely. That'll down there. And simply put, they're just going to be able to push the lane through the now. And I think stuns come out from Aluminum, followed by the slow of that stun talent that he got. And this is going to spell your death there. So look at Skimmy, they are pushing now very healthy.
That's GG, and I mean, it's, battle. Fine. It's not going to be enough to the two members here. I think that two. As unfortunately, put it quite this one,
Negative synergy, taking away quite a convincing, very, very nice game.
Negative synergy looking to take things out for the first game, but it is a best of three. Yep. This is whoever's going to be finding themselves in the very grand final situation. And as we mentioned at the start of the stream, people that find themselves in the grand finals today, the winner will be the first person to go to the land for the chance to represent ANZ at BlizzCon, whereas second place will take away $2,000, which is not a bad showing
pretty sizable
for a few hours on a Saturday week.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't mind making $2,000 on a Saturday. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure a lot of us would. But yeah, we'll have a quick look at the damage and stuff. I mean, something I was quite curious to look at was the damage of the Li Ming, and it's no surprise that that's going to be absolutely massive. I do feel like it's a bit of waste of damage trying to get with the old DP drops and that sort of thing, but you could actually really tell in those team fights that Li Ming pumping out the damage. Every time she'd land one of those arcane orbs, decimate the enemy team negative synergy. Actually kind of force them to work around that Li Ming quite a bit. So I actually think very nice plays by John there. But, you know, the choice in that game had to be negative synergy, obviously. It's on point.
I think we mentioned it in the draft as well.
Yeah.
It's just a bit interesting. It's not and negative synergy. It all came together a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
And if situations arose, then you knew how to play it, whereas Reailty was trying too hard. You can see the 10 deaths on Tyrael. I wasn't convinced with the solo tank Tyrael, and it didn't really pay off as nicely as they would have liked.
He got really, really stomped at some points. There's some points where he'd melt like a DPS. It sucks to see that sort of thing. So, I mean, we'll toss this concur and all that sort of thing for the time being. His thoughts about that game?
We had a little bit of an audio issue towards the end of that match, unfortunately, and we will just try and resolve that in a second. So a lot of people missed that sort of great commentary going on right at the end. Just take us through the last. Can you just do a quick recap on the last, let's say, 5-10 minutes, guys? What did you see? Was it what exactly?
Just the highlights.
Well, I mean, for most part, I think that the highlights of those fights were really how negative synergy played. I think that the response to how negative synergy was playing, it was just always there, but it just wasn't utilized as best they could. And I think negative synergy just really took advantage of that every fight. You'd see every time there was one pick, negative synergy would just be like, oh, if you got yourself a pick, we'll get ourselves one as well, really quickly and back off. So I do think that, you know, in these sort of situations, it's hard to say, but
it seemed to be that their go-to combo was the Zeratul into a Li Ming, and it didn't seem to really be going off as well as they would have liked, as well as the fact that they had a Tyrael who was just trying to get into the mix and make things happen, but the centifications weren't always there when they needed to be. So I think a few points that could be worked on to a non-standard comp, and it could have worked out pretty strong. But other than that, negative synergy with a solid showing.
Oh, thanks for that, guys. Yeah, it was unfortunate. We just couldn't hear the end of it, myself included. I'm like, oh, that's Australian and New Zealand internet for us, isn't it? We just jinxed it before. We said we'd had no technical difficulties through the day.
Well, we've had none. This is other companies having problems.
Yeah, this is not us.
We got fiber. It's not us.
That's it. Okay, well, what we'll do is we're just going to quickly try and re-establish the call connection. Maybe it's just a time thing. I'm hoping, Skype's going angry with us because we've used it way too long. So we're just going to go to a super, super short break, guys. Don't freak out. It probably says 30 minutes. It's not going to be 30 minutes. It's going to be like, I'm just bringing it up. Don't freak out.
We'll be back. Yep. So I can hear you.
Yep, no, just waiting for our starting skimmy. Turn the cameras back on.
Yep, you can see me.
Yep, hopefully.
Are we choppy at all? You don't sound choppy at all to me.
No, it should improve.
Yeah. Except. Boys are back. Skimmy and Starving are back.
Yep, we're back, and the draft's already begun, so let us know when we're live and we'll start yarning.
Yeah.
Start talking now, I'll get up and running.
Better? Just, start talking. Just spam it. Just whatever you got.
Into it, mate. Okay, here we go. Game number 2. It's on Cursed Hollow. And Negative Synergy, after that performance there, find themselves with the very first pick. Reailty, this is their choice. This is their macro map of choosing. And like all good things, Starving, it's Zagara. Who would have imagined?
Yeah, well, you're going to see it first ban most times for the record. So, yep, Negative Synergy. They're going for their first pick, and they picked up their Li Ming. And Reailty are coming in, and they first picked Turiel last game, I believe. And they're actually going to try and lock it in second. And I mean, I wasn't too convinced with it when I saw it last game. When they, locked it in first. And even now, I'm not too convinced with this. I feel like there's better picks for T1 that you can really get for the first picks. You're really trying to get those high tier picks at the start of the game, Skimmy. So, gonna have to wait and see how that pays out for them. But they do lock it in nonetheless. Tychus and Turiel for the side of Reailty.
That's the way, and we're going to see that with that Li Ming here. How are they going to do and round this one out? Fausted's obviously taking off the cards here. Zagara too. They could go straight away for a tanking option, but with an option or with an opening like Tychus and Turiel, it's really catering to the fact that they're trying to blow somebody up, trying to once again really utilise that sanctification and make things happen in that regard. But it seems to be that Global Pressure is once again the name of the game. They want to go for the Bright Wing. They want to try and complement things with Global Pressure and just really control.
Yeah, definitely. So Global Pressure will be no stranger to that today, Skimmy, and it's just been so effective there. But Negative Synergy, they're looking to lock in the third pick here, and it looks like it's gonna be Joanna. So very, very good at dispersing the enemy team and really just clumping them up and all that sort of thing. Be a very much so nuisance there. So Reailty going for the second ban, and can't actually see that there because it's a minimized screen. So just let me click on that there, and it's a Zeratul ban. So not something, to be honest, that I'd actually expect banned. But there you go, each to their own.
Yeah, I mean, they saw how it played out for them last game, and they're thinking, well, we're not a fan of combining it with this Turiel comp, but we don't want you to have it to try and snipe somebody off. We've seen how well Zeratul and Brightwing have paired on this map as well, and they're just not a fan of what it can bring to the table. So they're going to take it off. And Reailty now with 2 picks of their own. They still have Kelfas available. They still have top picks like the Frala and Sonya. And mind you, we haven't seen a lot of Sonya, if any, today.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, I don't think we actually have seen one game of Sonya, to be honest with you. So they're looking to hover this Abathur here. Pretty interesting stuff. And this would make for the second Abathur game today, I believe. Where we have seen Abathur being featured. And look, they're actually picking up a second tank being Arthas. So I actually really like that. I feel like Arthas is a very strong tank. He's quite bruiserish as well. And can do a lot of damage when he goes down that death coil sort of build.
I'm liking this a lot more than what they had before. The solo Tyrael I wasn't convinced about, but now having an Arthas added to the mix as well, that's 2 tanky targets, which can really be complemented by Abathur. And if Abathur wants to go for the more bruiser buff build, can really allow those 2 to shine even further.
Yeah, I think one thing that a couple of players have talked about recently as well is just how well Arthas fits in to the second tank role. As he just has a really good skill set for it. He can do a lot of damage. He's got the CC, he's got the slows, all that sort of carry on, and just really does fit that role quite nicely.
Look at this, Starving. I mean, this seems to be something that Negative Synergy especially do more than any other team we've seen so far today. They don't really care about these front lines. They're very much oriented about backline damage, controlling fights from afar, and is really looking after themselves in that regard. And Lunara, no surprises there. When you see Reailty go for the sort of comp they've gone for, it really caters to what Lunara brings.
Yeah, absolutely. But look at this. Karazim being hovered here can kind of act as sort of like a divine shield with that divine palm and resurrect a fallen champion in that threshold of time. And they lock that in. So pretty interesting stuff. I mean, I'm not going to put it past Negative Synergy because they've been running comps like this all day and it has been working for them, and they feel, like you said, Skimmy, they feel really confident and it tells in their gameplay. Sashin and all those lads, very skilled players. But I mean, Reailty, I really do like their team. I feel like it's safe. I'm not, like I said before, Skimmy, I'm not too convinced with the Turiel, just with how it was played last game. So it remains to be seen. I remain to be convinced about the Turiel. But like I say, they can always bring it back in this game here, and they don't want to lose because, of course, this is already one up for Team Negative Synergy. So if they win this one, they go straight back into the winners bracket grand final.
That's the way, and then it's the grand final. It's prize money. It's opportunities to represent your region.
Yep.
And, meet people at LAN. Why not?
Exactly.
It's the first that we've seen it for this region.
Awesome, by the way.
And that's going to be pretty sweet.
I mean, like, just players being able to meet each other, as well as, maybe some of the talent or whatever. It's just going to be a cool bonding session. We haven't had that yet. And, I mean, we've talked about it as well, like Morton being from Christchurch and stuff. I've met him once. And that sort of thing. But, a lot of these people haven't had the privilege of being able to meet. But I've had the privilege of talking to. So it's always nice knowing that, it's moving forward. And ANZ's seen going places. So very, very excited. Very exciting times. But the most exciting thing of today, I guess, so far, is this match.
That's the way. We're just waiting for this lobby just to ready on up. And, Vandy and Disco, any thoughts about this draft?
It's Abatha again. Teams haven't had too much luck with Abatha this tournament. It's really interesting. I like the Tyrrell and Arthas, but I like it more conceptually than anything else. I'm just concerned. My only trouble with Arthas is I find he's always a bit of a slow hero, in the fact that he gets into fights literally by walking, and then he gets away from fights by walking. He doesn't actually have any quick movement, any clever repositioning. He just has a bit of survivability. And that's one thing I don't really like about him. But teamed up with the Tyrael, I think that, not that it gives him mobility, but it's going to give him that backup buddy, or that buddy that can sort of help him out in those situations. Especially when you get 16 with the whole league round. Prior to that, his own shielding as well to give him a bit more survivability. And then Sanctification as well. So I like it, but Negative Synergy, they've just got that more traditional draft that I completely understand its nooks and crannies and what it's going to do.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I'm more leaning towards Negative Synergy's draft, but I'm well apt. I hope I get pleasantly surprised, because I love when that happens. And I think we're passing it back to you, Skimmy and Starving.
That you are, as we do jump into game number 2 of this lower bracket finals. It's the best of 3 situation, and this is literally bragging rights right now. It's a case of Negative Synergy winning this one and going into the grand finals. Reailty fighting for their life and a chance to still remain in qualifier number 1.
Indeed, and on the left-hand side we do see the team Reailty, Katori playing Karazim, Vanilla on Arthas, Ice Bold Water playing Tyrael, John on Tychus, and Hack on Abatha.
And on the right-hand side, it is Negative Synergy repping those red colour banners. It's Demise playing Sylvanas, Sashin on Li Ming, Penta on Johanna, Luminum playing Brightwing, and Lahao is on his trusty Lunara.
That's, of course, we've talked about it all day. Lahao, I guess you could say he's like a Lunara MVP. He plays it so much, and he plays it so well as well. Look at that. Howling Blast missing as the first kind of engage goes off Skimmy, trying to get the cheeky picks as you do at the start of the game. You're just like testing your footing and that sort of thing, but to no avail for either team.
So I'm just really curious how this Abatha specs. I mean, he's gone for pressurized glands at level 1, and I'm just wondering if he's going to go for that more bruiser-orientated build where he's just going to try and buff up like you would with an Illidan comp or Greymane comp and really try and cater to what Tyrael and Arthas can do in the front lines. But everything else, so far, so good. Pretty standard across the board. We've got even in diff once again, and we've got Dream Shot being picked up by Brightwing, really trying to do a lot more damage.
Yeah, definitely. So, it can actually pump out a wee bit of damage as well, as long as you're consistent with the targeting of spells there. So we do see 3 members for the side of Negative Synergy are actually going to poise themselves around the top lane and pressure Vanilla as best they can, maybe with a few early tower XP advantages there.
I suppose one could argue this map, or this game in particular, is a case of, ranged meta versus melee meta, because both really are trying to achieve different things. It's going to come down to who can coordinate it best. Global pressure really is going to be in favour of Negative Synergy, but it's not going to be the be-all, end-all.
Yeah, definitely. But look at that. It's going to be a bit of an engage still going on the top. And it looks like they've actually moved Katori up there as well to deal with Demise and all that. But Demise getting dropped so low, managing to wail on out of there. Very close to dying indeed.
Absolutely, and that seems to be the focus right now. Is it's going to be Brightwing sitting up against Tychus in a 1v1 matchup, and Tychus just sitting in here patiently, just realising that he just needs to try and do a bit of damage where he can. Doesn't need to take too much harass for free. He's doing a great job at that, forcing Luminum to back away. And Luminum, boy, he does have that built-in sustain from his passive. He's not going to be forced to tap that well just yet. He's quite happy just to sit things out.
He's going to have a hard time against John, though, with the grenade range, and with such a slow cast animation on the spell there for Brightwing, you'll be able to dodge that pretty easily with a dash. But do see Penta taking a bit of damage along paired with Sashin and Demise still in the top lane. Really doing a good job of just keeping members up here, and Vanilla now forced to back as he can't tap well as well.
Absolutely, and this is all in time for this first tribute spawning. No teams have gone for the golems at this stage just yet, and we can see the Wisp coming from the side of Negative Synergy, aggressively invading to actually scout out their information, so they know that they're not on the golems, and as a result, Johanna in the bottom right section is instantly starting their own.
Yeah, definitely. So I like that play because it means they're just finding out that, look, we're a bit ahead in terms of like where we're going to get these camps, but Penta's actually opting to back off, and now they're going to grab this hard camp. So they've been spotted by the Abathur mines, though. Might have a pretty good idea on Team Reailty of exactly what's going on there as the first curse or first tribute is about to spawn.
Yeah, there was no way in hell that Penta was going to be able to pick that one up on his own. Such a slow DPS target as that tank, but they've actually traded it out. So the standard moment or the motion to really go for the golems has been replaced by taking the knights instead, which are going to push down the mid-hand side there. And now with that in mind, they now have a 4v4 up in this top lane, and Phase Shift is going to come across, but it's not in time because the Leonardo's dropping the mix of things, but the fight is not over there. They're still looking for more. Phase Shift comes across the second time now, but it goes straight into a Howling Blast, and they're looking to try and find kills. This is Reailty really turning up the heat here, really turning up the pressure, and saying we might be melee, but we're going to just jump on you.
Yeah, definitely. It's you're going to find yourself dying really, really quickly if you do get jumped. Of course, with the Vanilla there, the Arthur's player gets you with that Howling Blast. Get caught in that CC, you're going to go down very, very quickly to the Frostmourne, and it certainly hungers. Almost starves, like starving there. The fantastic lead players are just trying to collect this tribute, and I think they've got a lot of worth off this hard camp in the mid as well.
Absolutely, nobody's going to be able to respond to that so far, but they do have Abathur sitting in the bot lane, just soaking as much as possible, most likely symbioting mid as well to try and reduce the damage that comes out of that one. But there goes the grenade from Tychus, trying to interrupt it once again. There's nobody able to go for it this time. Demise is going to get a 4-channel off. And just touching on those level 4 talents, we've seen Adrenal Overload actually being picked up by the Abathur, so our suspicions were in fact correct.
Yeah, definitely. And it's going to be quite effective with Arthas and Tyrael, like you said, with Tyrael being able to jump in and get really deep into that fight, and with Arthas more fulfilling the role of like slowing things down and that sort of carry on. But Hack doing a pretty good job as well, I must say, of soaking XP. Abathur comps usually find themselves being a bit more behind. Yep. So it's interesting to find them an XP advantage at 4 minutes 50 in.
Yeah, it's a good situation for them to be in. It doesn't actually matter too much about that first tribute, but the fact that they're still keeping an even pegging means they won't be too far behind, allowing themselves to have equal footing when it comes around to level 10.
Yeah, definitely. And just the talent tier advantage for level 10 really can find you snowballing these games, especially when you're trying to like grab the tribute, but you can't actually force the fight because you're a talent tier down. It can really, really tilt you. So, you know, Lumen, all the boys, and Negative Synergy really look to be in a more positive position for this one. As Team Reailty were picking up their hard camp as all this was going on, but of course they do have a lot of time here. Lahal is channeling up, and Penta being dropped so low, and Stoppel being forced so early.
Yeah, Penta's gone from the fight straight away, but Abathur actually gets traded out too because Sylvanas had no means of going down to that fight until just trying to push it out, really trying to abuse what Abathur was doing, and got rewarded for her behaviour there. So still, despite all this, is deciding not to go down in the exchanges. Wow. Really, the Arcane Orbs as well as the Arcane Flare range, really preventing
this is really
Reailty from getting it.
This is really good for Negative Synergy here, because what they're doing is they're continuing to push top. They're getting the soak, and I mean, forcing plays from Reailty. So they pushed them off the tribute. They're managing to pick it up, and wow, they got a fort at the top as well, Skimmy. So they definitely came out on top of there.
And that's actually the definite, advantage of having so much range is that you can say play passive. You can just poke away, and if they can't get to a target to blow up, well, you know, their comp really does feel lackluster.
Yeah, definitely. So it's going to be a whole lot easier now for Negative Synergy, Skimmy, to kind of force that advantage that they do have. Especially having Abathur like run across to the top lane and that sort of thing, it kind of leaves you in a weird situation because she's seen on the map there's nothing to defend her up there now as well. So if someone runs up to the fort and Hack's just sitting there, he's going to die. Very, very sad stuff.
Absolutely, and it seems to be that the Fat Boys have been exchanged on both sides, but Katori is selling this one. It's taking a long time for him to actually bring down both of those, and it actually seems to be that Negative Synergy just saying, well, we're not going to wait around for you to do that because we're going to start our boss. They've got 4 members there. Brightwing, ready to phase shift in, does in fact do it now, as the poke damage is coming across onto the 2 members of Reailty that have scattered this one out.
Yeah, definitely, and Sashin, Skimmy, he's just playing this so well. I see him always sitting back, getting these Arcane Orbs, and look at him go so low! Icebolt actually does go down. Spells will be able to be used in death, though, and all that split damage. Do see the Abathur clone going very low, and John actually poisoned the... Oh my lord, the Divine Palm! Very nice timing, though, actually.
It doesn't get any value.
It doesn't get value.
It doesn't get any value indeed. The healing ward was used also as well to try and prevent him from dying. But it's a big cooldown down for at least 40 seconds. And with this momentum swing, they've got the boss. They're going to finish off the fat boys that Kotori couldn't finish as well. And this is going to be a very strong push starving with Sylvanas, potentially even a keep.
Yeah, this could very well be a keep scheme. It's going to depend on how they really respond to this. Look at Luminum, though, got dropped so low. Judgment being picked up
Judgment of all things to go in for that. I've never seen a Judgment used in so very long. And it didn't actually find any value there because look at this. The boss is going to go straight on towards him. Everybody getting clumped up. They all get dragged in. 3 members getting zonked. Wow. There goes Tyrael looking for more. Another one. They find Vanilla. They chuck poison onto John. He leaps, strikes in. He's looking for Kotori too. And Lahal doing Lahal things. Well, maybe not that part where he dies, but they found a keep out of it. And that's a great momentum swing. Sub 10 minutes.
This is pretty scary for Reailty. It's going to be negative synergy. Already won up, so if they do win this one, that means, you know, they've got it in the bag, and they're done for this bracket at least. And with a keep so early, 7 minutes and 50, that's the fastest we've seen today. I believe the earlier one, I can't remember who that was against, but they got an 8-minute keep, so just a bit short on that new world record.
Almost like the Olympics for Heroes of the Storm, but these are great momentum swings to have so early on into this game. Level 13 is just about to be acquired too, and they're going to keep up that pressure because now they can pick up a Knights on this side and here, and then they can just go straight to the top-hand side, pick up a Curse, and potentially push the pressure for the win. But, you know, Reailty are in a dire situation right now. They're saying we need to do something. We're going to go for the boss, but Penta, as a one-man wrecking crew, spots that out, and it might just be enough time for the rest of Negative Synergy to come down and respond.
Yeah, definitely, and at a very bad time for them, Skimmy, as well as the fight is breaking out. Look at the Condemn being used so well, and the Tribute being picked up as well, Skimmy. This spells something very bad for Team Reailty.
Yeah, Tyrael just drops amongst it once again. He just judgments him and finds no value. Just questionable pick on that one there, and the palm comes across onto Kotori too, just too early. Just doesn't find any value, does not get triggered again. John, super low. He's just going to die to poison. Lahal is running away as much as possible. Lumina actually blinks in completely, body blocks Lahal. Lahal will be so salty about that one, but it doesn't matter because it's for the greater good. 1 for 4 or 1 for 3. You can't complain about those stats.
Yeah, I think Lahal was actually just trying to get the heal over the wall there and didn't actually manage to survive. But the kiting there, Lahal just plays such an amazing Lanara, so just something I always like looking out for, Skimmy. So good to see. And all the while that high camp's pushing mid, we see Tyrael and Abathur having to kind of focus their attention at top, moving towards the mid now. And now they've got another boss. Skimmy, this is just so scary.
And look at this. Session is just delaying this capture for as long as possible. They're trying to get as much value out of it if they can. They're waiting for this next minion wave to push on in so they can, you know, really have a strong siege.
Yeah. And with all the other advantages that they do have going for them as well, now there's a hard camp spawning for the side of on Reality's side, but Negative Synergy is so close. They have the advantage at the moment, and wow, Vanilla might actually get picked.
Yeah, they're going to go and try and contest on towards this night camp. It's on their side, and he's actually Vanilla as a one-man team. He's just sitting on there trying to defend for as long as possible. Icebolt, well, he's going to want to use Judgment here, but he's not going to find any value out of it just yet. He does go for Session finally. They're still fighting on that watch point. They're still fighting on that capture point. Arthur's drops. Big palm comes across and that allows Icebolt to survive a little bit longer, but Lahal jumps in and jumps out, chucking out damage wherever he can. Lord. He's going to go, but it seems to be, this is what we were talking about in those close quarter situations, a melee team will win.
Yeah, definitely, because Arthur's is sitting on the whole team composition there, just with the constant DPS, and you're going to get slowed, and your attack speed's going to be slowed as a matter of fact as well. And Tychus with the grenades is just going to be pumping through your damage there. So very good fight for Real. Didn't actually expect that to go so well for them there. But you know what?
Such a cluster of things. Can you imagine if they had certification?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Felt a little bit awkward in that situation trying to use a judgment, but hey, it's worked out for them.
Yeah, it did work out. And I mean, the judgments earlier on did, I guess, work out. They got a couple of picks off them, but yeah, sanctification would have been absolutely huge, especially level 20 Skimmy. So, gonna have to wait and see how that does affect them in the later stages of the game. But you know what? It's still looking scary for Reailty. They've lost the top keep. It's going to be a constant annoyance all game. Any pressure of the bot is just going to make top even that much more stressful.
Yeah, Negative Synergy with that level 16 advantage, they're going to pick up these golems on the bot right side. They have their own boss available in the next 30 seconds too, so expect to see them try and hang around that sort of situation. Most likely looking to try and push out bot for as much as possible and really abuse the fact that, you know, if members commit from Reailty down to the side, they can pick up a boss uncontested.
Yes, exactly. So, to be honest, in this sort of situation as Reailty, Skimmy, what are you trying to look for here? What sort of opportunity are you looking for?
You're just looking to try and fight in those close quarter situations. Once again, it worked out for them then. It's going to work out for them again and again. So, you know, if they do see that Negative Synergy go for this boss, if they can get amongst it and fight on that point, you know, they might have a very big chance of winning.
Yeah, definitely. And it looks like they're both poising for it. The Tribute is spawning in quite a convenient location as well. Arcane Orb has been tossed down. They're just really looking to start off this fight. Here comes the Abathur clone Skimmy, and a fight is soon to break out for sure.
And there we go. There goes the Judgment. It's on one target every single time it's on session. Blocking field comes across, but it's actually going to block him from actually getting in any further, which is interesting. As the 1v1 trade went for Arthas on towards Lahal, he dropped him super damn low, and it's actually going to be enough to zone him out from this fight for any further engage. Icebolt still getting amongst it. He's going to pop his passive and try and jump in as much as possible, do damage. He takes that demise with that passive. He says goodbye to you, my friend. 1 for 3 traded. Serial taking out 3 with the rest of the team. And that's exactly what we mean. If it's close quarter situations like that, they're going to win.
Yeah, especially with the Abathur hat, it's going to hurt you a whole lot. So it's actually looking pretty positive for the team in Reailty here. They've managed to get a lot of map control back. They're going to be able to pick up this boss, which is going to travel through to the top lane with that easy camp as well, the Fat Men. And speaking of Fat Men, there's actually a pair of them at the bottom lane that Abathur is going to have to, go respond to as well.
Yeah, you're going to try and slap them as much as you can, but you can see here that Reailty, they're going to try and go for the invade and try and take that boss away. The West comes across, but the mine destroys that one. There's no vision that they have. It's only 2 members, both Lumen and Lahal, only a fraction away on this map. They're taking a Knights whilst their boss is being stolen too, and they're just going to have to cop that one on the chin.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at that. This is going to run on up. And I'm pretty interested to see how Negative Synergy kind of like close this one off, because I felt like they had the ability to much more earlier on in the game, but now that it's kind of evening out and the scaling of Arthas and Abathur is really starting to come apparent, it's going to be very interesting to see if they can actually pull this one through. The boss, of course, is going to be such a nuisance as well with the AoE stun. It's going to have to force a bit of re-movement or shuffling around by Negative Synergy, but it looks like it's about to go down.
Yeah, it's interesting here. I mean, I'm just trying to think about this Judgment pick as to why it has any value. And maybe the fact is that they're trying to really get into the fact of, forcing an engagement. If the Tyrael is super deep and he can block somebody off, where that allows time, combined with the movement speed buff that he provides the team, to really get up in their face and, make things happen.
Pretty surprising, though. Abathur was going for that cap at the bottom all the while that was going on, but Brightwing managed to get down there before any of that actually happened. Icebolt now using that Judgment once more onto Session Skimmy. It looks like they just keep going for these kills.
Absolutely, every single time they're finding that kill. The Draculator is good, doing damage where it can. Tyrael's passive finds a bit of damage across. They're so dangerous low on the side of Negative Synergy, but it's just not going to be enough. The resets come across, and that's exactly what Li Ming needs. Vanilla cannot do anything in this situation because Brightwing phase shift in at the nick of time survived and really denied anybody from dying. And, well, that's just a great situation if you're Negative Synergy, because with that in mind, that has to be GG.
Yeah, definitely. The GG has already been called here, as we did see Divine Palm not even being used that fight either. Skimmy, unfortunately, the ultimate now is available for Abathur, but with no one to really utilise that on, it's going to be a bit of a pain there. So, yep, it's already been called GG. Looks like Negative Synergy wanting to close this one up and take it to the winners bracket. Congratulations to Negative Synergy for taking this one away. And, we did talk about this earlier on when we were going into the loose bracket, but both teams put up an amazing performance. I feel like Reailty, they've really turned some heads.
Yeah, no, they gave a definite strong showing there, and there were a few moments where they looked like they could have actually found a bit of a comeback, but the caster's curse is not real in this case. Negative Synergy are going to be going up against the boys once again and looking for a shot at redemption, and at the very least, they've guaranteed themselves some prize money.
Exactly, yeah, so can't really go wrong with that. Well, I'll take a quick look at the damage as well. I mean, it's pretty obvious what happened there. Lahal, playing Linara, he's been pumping out damage every time he's playing that champion. And he's just been doing so good, the hero, finding so much worth there. And I actually thought that Abathur played very well in that one particular team fight where we just saw that how much damage the AoE actually does. When you've got the Abathur hat on, ticking away, you've got the Arthas, you've got the Tychus as well with the Q. It's just, that one fight in those big compact spaces really did spell something bad for Team Negative Synergy.
It's game, set, match. So, Reailty are out of it for this week, but they won't be out of it altogether. There will be a qualifier number 2, so have another shot at redemption, another shot at qualifying. But for the meantime, we'll pass you back to your hosts, Vandy and Disconquer, for their thoughts on that game.
Cheers, guys. I mean, I have to agree with you guys completely. Like, if the blue team could sort of keep managing to get those compact team fights in those little nooks and crannies of the map, there was a very high chance of a comeback going on. And as you said, Negative Synergy may have passed up on a very early chance to end the game, but they just decided to stall it out and play the safe route. But that almost bit them in the behind, as we saw them sort of catching up, and then they sort of started getting worried there. They're like, uh-oh, could we possibly lose this? But then once they had that fight out in the open, we saw them completely pick apart the blue team and sort of just go for Reailty team members that were just caught out. Like, there was nothing they could do because the area effect stuff wasn't hitting them. So that's how it came apart.